Chapter 8. Underworld. Elise can feel it. She's been somehow made. She stands in front of the open door as a midnight breeze slips through the threshold. Her heartbeat syncs with the wall clock as she tries not to betray herself. Her eyes shift toward Dan.
Did he do something?
She thinks. Dan slowly and quietly chews his peanut brittle, eagerly awaiting the drama that he knows is about to unfold.
What is it, Chris?
Elise questions.
Did Dan break something?
She continues with tonal shift.
Oh, no. This has nothing to do with me, honey.
Dan interjects, voice littered with instigation. Chris breaks the tense atmosphere, swiftly jerking his neck toward Dan.
It has everything to do with you, Dan,
he says, head swinging back toward Elise.
It doesn't have to be a big deal, Elise. I just want to talk, so come on in and have a seat right over there.
Elise closes the door behind herself, lifting her arms to properly greet her husband. Chris embraces Elise as she tenses with a yelp.
Ah, not so hard, Chris,
she squeals.
My back is killing me. Oh, sorry,
Chris says, sneakily feeling around her back.
What on earth is that?
He exclaims, fingers softly gliding across the healing tears under her clothing.
Don't worry about that, Chris,
Elise assures.
There was an accident, a construction accident. Yes, a construction accident near the office where I fell and something scraped my back. All of that is correct.
Dan peers over at Elise, eyes lazy with disbelief as he stalls his blinking for dramatic effect.
A construction accident?
Chris questions with a similar expression.
Dan, turn around,
he demands.
What? But this is the good part.
Dan scoffs through a whine.
Dan, you're in my house, and when I tell you to do something in my house, you do it. Now turn around. Fine,
Dan replies.
A lot of bass all of a sudden,
he mumbles, turning toward the wall. Chris lifts the back of Elise's shirt, startled by the claw wound stretched from base to top.
A construction accident?
He shouts.
There are burns on your back. It's not as bad as it looks, Chris, I promise,
Elise says, pulling down her shirt and sitting on the armchair.
Then tell me what really happened. Where were you tonight, Elise?
Chris asks, Dan's body shaking as he faces the wall.
I was at work, you know that. I know that, but where?
Dan's body begins shaking more vigorously, still facing the wall. He wants so badly to reveal the truth, but tries to let them settle it.
In my office,
Elise replies.
Doing what? Filing. For who?
My boss.
Who is?
Sanderson. The living room has become a chessboard, each question a threat, every response an evasion. The entire room begins to tremble as Dan's convulsions grow more violent. His fingernails scrape against the couch, serrated teeth grinding into flakes. Chris stands firmly at Elise, unwavered, ready.
The name of the company,
he asks with bravado. Elise stammers. And with that hesitation, a checkmate becomes ripe for the taking.
Dan?
Chris calls as Dan ceases his quaking with glee.
Get her, boy!
From the couch to the floor, Dan hops on all fours before rising to his feet. He stretches an accusatory finger in the air, stamping toward Elise.
You're a secret operative for a shadowy Quasimodo organization. You've been lying to Chris and he's leaving you. Dan!
Chris shouts, brows wrinkled at the absurd suggestion.
Okay, maybe not that last part,
Dan replies.
But everything else is true, missy.
He continues with a finger wag.
What?
Elise says, feigning surprise.
That's not... Why would I even... what?
She catches Dan and Chris's shared expression, disapproving, non-believing.
I'll put a pot on.
Elise continues in defeat as she walks toward the kitchen. Interior, telemarketing office, night. Much like the scenario with the police, Adam is knelt down in front of the office desk. He spreads his claws across the floor as a portal begins to form in front of him. The demonic shapes on the gate behind the desk begin to twist and rotate as the falsehood of a painting is burned away.
And down we go,
Adam casually says, his body dematerializing as the particles are sucked into the portal like a black hole. The deafening sound of speed was akin to being in the eye of a storm as his disintegrated body rushes toward the underworld, the portal sealing behind him. The flaming vortex swirls as Adam's pieces join together while a hellscape materializes before him. The storm-like sounds were replaced with high-pitched screams of torment as Adam approaches a demonic palace.
It's every day with them,
Adam thinks to himself, growing tired of the sounds of anguish.
Can someone lower the volume down here? Geez, you'd think they'd be used to it by now.
He continues, gliding across the netherworldly plane, cave-like in appearance, nightmarish in presentation. Adam comes before a broad staircase, lanky but formidable hellspawn guarding an entrance with pitchforks at its summit. He swoops down to the base of the stairs, folding his wings behind himself. To not properly walk the stairs was considered disrespectful.
Yo!
Adam greets with a two-fingered salute as he scales the steps, the demons elated to see his return.
Adam!
The pair shout in unison, voices deep and layered.
Welcome back, brother! Don't get too excited. It's just a quick pop-in. Need to ask the big guy for a favor. Uh-oh!
One of the demons hiss.
Don't let her hear you call her big. Saw her disappear a guy for that the other day.
Adam replies with a closed-eyed smirk.
Fair warning. Alrighty then. Open her up.
Pitchforks slam to the ground as flames crawl from their base, filling the recessed shapes in the double doors, pentagons and hexagons swallowed by infernal trails. The doors part as Adam proceeds through their void. Across the shadowy expanse, a sort of throne room lies. A hardened spherical structure at least 10 feet long lies near the backmost wall, draped along an altar just beyond the pillars.
Hey, you sleeping here, girl?
Suddenly, the air feels heavier, like gravity had increased a few percent. Adam flinches a bit, ceasing his footsteps. Another inch forward could spell his demise. The structure rises and separates itself, wings to shield a curvaceous figure. Hips aplenty, chest of bounty, an hourglass that can swoon Father Time, all shaded with a vermilion tone. Zariel in all her glory.
You do not maintain beauty of this caliber.
Zariel begins, clothed like flames concealing her more private areas.
Without 12 hours daily rest, you have interrupted 3 of them.
She continues, translucent canopies billowing at her sides.
12 hours daily rest.
Adam mocks with a chuckle.
Always so dramatic, my word.
Of course, Adam always likes to play the unbothered type, sarcasm personified. But the fact is that no matter how well he might be able to hide it, every moment spent in that room, his body suffers.
If you've nothing to ask of me,
Zariel replies,
then I'll see you in 3 hours.
She continues, curling her wings back over herself, leaving just enough space to see how Adam would respond.
Oh, Zari, come now,
he says, head tilted up at her looming stature.
You know my tail doesn't sway in here unless I need something important.
Out with it then.
Right.
And with that, Adam's tone hardens, eyes sharpening to convey the severity of the situation.
She's been captured,
he says.
What?
Zariel exclaims, her wings fully expanding as a burst of flames briefly fill the room with a crackle.
You mean to suggest that Daniel already has that much power?
She continues, her imposing figure fully towering over Adam.
Dan?
Adam bursts into mild laughter.
Oh, no. Daniel literally has no idea who he is. He's probably getting revenge on a housefly somewhere.
He continues, hand-waving the mere suggestion.
But his friend has this firecracker of a wife. She's more resourceful than I thought.
Zariel calms herself, partially stretching back across the altar.
I see. If I could leave, I would have an army at your ready, but due to circumstances, I cannot. And what do you need of me?
I need a resistance to holy water. I've heard that you can help with that.
Again, Zariel slowly rises, leaning down as she hooks a single claw beneath Adam's chin and lifts his face to hers.
That is ancient sorcery. Sorcery that does not come at a flimsy cost. Not many have paid its price and reaped the reward.
Adam feels a bead of sweat slide down the side of his face, not from fear, not from the environment, but from the strain of keeping upright now that she's come so close to him. Adam slips a hand from his pocket, slowly guiding Zariel's hand away with a pompous grin.
Oh? And here I thought her safe return would be payment enough,
he says, eyes slipping into a narrowed look as if catching someone in a lie.
I thought you, cared about her.
Zariel becomes visibly flustered. The hue of her flames begin to shift as she straightens to her full height, her head snapping in every direction as if she were afraid that others were listening.
Wait, no,
she says.
I mean, she's your...
You're turning pink,
Adam taunts. Zariel takes a deep breath. Her flames are turning to their normal color as she clears her throat.
As I said, ancient sorcery. However, even though this incarnation has only been awakened a year ago, your existence is itself quite ancient. As a result, I will grant your request. For a spell of this nature, I require at least a day's time.
Adam turns his back towards Zariel, waving a goodbye.
That's all I needed to hear, my girl. Just send for me when it's ready.
Oh, and Adam?
I know, 3 hours. You won't be disturbed.
Adam walks toward the exit, regaining his physical composure the further away he gets. The room vanishes as Adam stands on the other side of the slowly closing doors, his gaze staring through them before the view narrows to a single enraged eye. The doors seal with a deep echo as Adam falls to his knees, panting as if he'd been running for hours.
Brother!
The guards shout as they come to his aid.
No!
Adam replies.
Stay at your post. I'm fine.
He continues, clutching his chest.
I hate this.
He wheezes.
Having to ask for things. I'm the first. It should be her at my feet. Her body being crushed in my shadow.
Adam covers his mouth as he coughs, blotches painting his hand with a black reminder that even demons aren't immortal.
Elise,
Adam thinks to himself.
she's lucky this will take a day, because if I saw her now, I'd kill her too.
Adam expands his wings, shooting off like a pinball springing from its chute, his blazing trail laced with fury. Interior, Chris at Elise's kitchen, middle of the night. Elise has come clean about her position as a quasi-government operative. Every mission, every kill, every lie. Nothing was off the table. And in return, Dan and Chris explained everything that happened with Adam.
Elise!
Chris calls, his face extremely perked and wide-eyed as he sits at the table.
What did you put in this coffee? I feel so present.
Elise sips her coffee with a laid-back expression, chilled as if it were a Tuesday afternoon.
Oh, it's just a little something we use to help operatives stay awake for overnight missions.
She places her finger on her chin in careful thought.
Now that I think about it, this is you guys' first time. I probably should have just used half.
Elise flinches at the sound of a falling ceiling panel crashing onto the table, her face twisting into a grimace as she tilts her head upward.
Get up! Dan, get off the ceiling! No!
He shouts.
I like it up here. You want me to walk the ground like some slovenly primitive. Fine, Dan. But if you're gonna crawl around up there, then fix the hole in the roof.
And with that, Dan flips neatly down into the kitchen seat below himself.
You ruined it,
he flatly announces, tossing away the dropped panel from the table.
Anyway,
Chris detracts.
Seriously, Elise, we've been married for years now, and it took you this long to tell us? Tell me? Well, it's dangerous work, Chris. You could be killed just by saying the name Dancing Shadow.
What?
Chris exclaims, gesturing toward Dan.
Being friends with Dan is dangerous work. That we haven't already been killed by one of his revenge schemes is a miracle. He's right, you know.
Dan interjects, nonchalantly checking his nails for dirt.
That's completely different. How?
Dan asks in protest.
We fought were-creatures, dinosaurs, and...
A chill runs through Dan's spine as he shivers.
Dentists. Oh.
He continues.
The only difference is that you get a paycheck, and from the size of this house and your inability to pay my rent, not very big ones.
Elise rises to her feet, slamming her hands on the kitchen table.
All right, that's it,
she says as she points toward the living room door.
Out. Go home for however many days you have left. All right,
Chris mediates.
Everyone calm down. We're all just wired from the coffee and whatever drug Elise laced it with. We just need to focus. There are demons out there who we haven't even come close to figuring out how to get rid of, and best we could manage is putting one of them to sleep. So let's just think. Think of what, Chris?
Elise scolds.
Do you know any angels or something? Because that's the only thing I can think of at this point. Well, can you think of anything that would be remotely useful?
Elise sits in thought, recalling the only possible relevance to the situation.
Father Luke,
she begins.
He said something like...
Elise recalls the words in his voice.
Putting the beast under is all we can manage. It would take ancient magics far lost to this century in order to completely vanquish a demon. But that's all he said. So unless either of you have ancient magics, we're probably screwed if or whenever Dan's brother decides to come after us.
The room goes quiet, heads hanging as they all collaborate in silence, brainstorming. And with a surprising calm, the silence breaks.
Oh no,
Dan says, depression lining his words.
What is it, Dan?
Chris replies.
I think I know somebody with ancient magics.
Dan says, lazily scooting from his chair and walking toward the door as if all life had been sucked from his body.
Come on, guys.
He continues as he opens the front door.
We'll take Scarlet Diva. Scarlet Diva?
Elise questions, rising from her seat to follow behind Chris and Dan.
Dan named his car after she won him a street race.
Chris replies.
Wait,
he exclaims as he follows behind.
Dan, where are we going? The museum,
he replies.
Take me home to grab my car.
And this concludes Chapter 8. Underworld.